and it really becomes a lot of just insane mix and match vertical and horizontal play all across the board.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why we've seen kids' dorms become a much more popular site. Even honestly, when Mira's not banned, teams still head up there every now and again when even while the basement defense is open. But it looks like we will be heading to the basement first, which I'm a little bit surprised to see. But overall, it doesn't end up mattering too much because if they win here, they'll get locked out and just play kids' dorms anyway. But we do see both of Valk and Echo, and the 6th pick was onto Echo, so the 6th picked Echo, and that was basically to sort of ensure that Impact didn't decide to take an IQ. So an IQ would be super useful here to take out some Valk cams and the Echo drones, but just not going to have any of that right now.
And I think IQ, we're going to see a lot less play of her now that she's lost her frags. She's got a solid gun, and her gadget can be incredibly useful. But without the frag grenades, it definitely does change the way that she's going to be used. So
it definitely does push her more into the role of being picked as a counter. Because if you pick her and there's no gadgets for you to detect, really, like there's no Echo or no Valk or anything like that, then it's definitely a lot less useful than it was before without the frags. But if those operators are still in play, then you can still get a decent amount of value out of it. But yeah, I agree. We definitely won't be seeing as much IQ anymore because it's just not as safe a pick anymore. You don't want to risk it if you don't know that you're going up against a Valk or an Echo or something like that.
Or a Pulse, even if a Pulse is on the board, very useful as well. Yaga is going to find the first kill onto Udali, who is playing the Glass. Do you think that with Impact's operator lineup for this round, do you think they had a solid read that we were going to see them going downstairs in?
So you mean the Sinister defense?
Yeah, so like, Sinister is defending downstairs, and like Impact, so they brought a Glass as opposed to they don't have a Blackbeard obviously, but they brought a Glass who might not be as useful when attacking upstairs. Can still provide a lot of utility, but I feel like he's much safer of a pick when you're attacking downstairs because you can go for the smoke plant. And various different methods like that. Do you think that their operator lineup was based on a read, or do you think it was just kind of like pure luck? It's going to be their standard lineup for this map.
If it was a read, I don't think it was a read based on the operators, because we generally don't see Castle played when we go downstairs. We have a trade out as Snuggling takes out Slippin', but Yaga trades it out with a headshot onto Surfat Matt, bringing it down to 3v3. So Impact are actually holding their own pretty well so far. They only have a minute left. They lost their smokes. They do still have Thermite and I believe one EE, one D left. So a decent amount of utility that they can execute with.
Yeah, they're still setting themselves up. That doesn't seem like they have full map control. They're still a little worried about meeting, you can see, and they also have little Asian up top shooting through attic. He does find the kill onto Yaga though, so that's going to put it to a 3 versus 2. First smoke canister, I think that was going to get used with still a little bit more than 30 seconds left on the clock. So that could leave an opening for Impact to go for a plant later down the line. EE1D is going to come out as an EMP comes out. A smoke canister is going to go up, not on the laundry machine, so Thatcher is going to move in and start to go for that plant. C4 is going to come out and down the Thatcher, though, so that's going to be Panda, I believe, that is down. That Snuggling is taking some shots from behind there. Mailman does find a kill onto Panda, and now Snuggling is kind of pinned in this position. He gets shot from behind the wall. 10 seconds left. It's all up to Little Asian, who's going to drop down. He's going to go for the fight against the smoke. He gets the shots off onto Mailman, and now you've got Rudy left in the hallway, but he's going to find the shots, and it's going to be Sinister taking round 1.
That was a really good play, and one thing that I don't think Impact noticed was that there was an Echo drone on those shelves right in front of where they were trying to plant, and that yokai just gave Sinister all of the information they needed to clutch out the rest of the round. So I think it was definitely one that was really hard to see, but if they did see that, then it would have painted a very different story, because the entire time their teammates were just sitting on the yokai drone and saying, all right, he's planting now, he's still there, he hasn't moved, just toss your C4, you got this. And that's all they really needed to do at that point. So I think that was a really good yokai drone placement, partially because it just covers all of the site, even if he did die. So he died pretty early into the round, but he still had a very good information yokai out, and it also, again, was very hard to see at that specific angle.
Yeah, one of the nice things with some of the yokai changes is he's turned into not just plant denial, but also a very solid intel operator. So that's definitely increased his pick rate a lot. Another thing I do want to note that I enjoyed watching during that round was right at the end. A lot of the times when you're the last one standing, you might try to stay alive by getting away or finding a different angle to sit in, find somewhere safe to sit in. But Rudy, sorry, I'm still in the habit of calling him Rudy Cat, but Rudy just completely held his ground, stayed in the hallway, didn't give any sound cues to Lil Asian, and just waited for it, knowing that Lil Asian had to go for the aggressive play to try to get a round win there. So that was a solid call from him. I don't doubt that his team was in his ear saying, just stay alive, but I'm sure that they had faith in him to be able to clutch that out as was needed. So well played all around from Sinister throughout that round.
I think he also figured that Impact Lil Asian still had the diffuser. I don't actually remember if he did or not, but he died, or he pushed forward right next to where his teammate died with the diffuser. So it's pretty, like, you definitely think that he would have the diffuser in a situation like that if you are the defense. So if you were to run away, then you're basically giving him a plant, so he just wants to stay close to make sure he can hear the sound cues of a plant going down if it does. But already we see a little bit of contesting over the main hall here as someone's trying to peek in from meeting hall. And again, this is sort of the meeting hall kitchen defense that we've been talking about. Rudy gets a headshot onto Surfat Matt. That is the Ash player going down right at the beginning of the round.
One of the things that you'll hear me complain about a lot is teams who lose an entry fragger early on like that without any trade backs. Like, yeah, it's fine, you're an entry fragger. If you don't land the kill, that's fine, as long as your teammate is there to trade it out. But it seemed like there was no real drone going in there for Surfat Matt. And he just kind of peeked an angle and lost a gunfight. So that's a very risky move for him to make, and it's actually going to be kind of fatal to his team, because now, you know, what do they have for an entry fragger? Is it going to put Utility on the glass as the entry fragger right now? It's puts them in a really dangerous position.
It's definitely going to be tough, because anyone else they decide to use as an entry fragger will cost them a lot of extra, basically, operator utilities. So you definitely don't want Lion to push in, because he's got an incredible gadget to fight against retakes, and you can also plant really consistently with an E1D. You don't want to lose Thermite, because obviously he's Thermite, he's your only hard breach there. Thatcher, I think, is the only one who can really fit that bill. Maybe Utility if he wants to pop some smokes, but again, you want to save smoke grenades for plants. But it looks like they're going for it already. E1D gets popped as well as a smoke grenade. Snugglin manages to take out Rudy, so that evens it up to a 4v4, and Sippin going to get another kill out the back of the window there in Snugglin. Headshots on the Mailman. One more kill going over to Yaga. Very good K1A play there from the Vigil. He's pulling out the SMG-12, another good gun, so either gun he decides to use, he will have some reliable fragging power, and Sippin gets one more, bring it down to a 1v3 as Baby Panda is the last one left.
And the peek from Sippin is going to come out, and that's going to make Panda fall. Sinister taking their second round in a row. It's just solid, patient play coming in from Sinister, and when Impact went for their execute near the end there, they got a few people on the site, but I mean, there was no panic from Sinister. They didn't displace any of the players. They didn't have any solid cover, stopping any rotates. Once they launched Utility to the player that was sitting inside of Attic, that was a really aggressive angle for Utility to peek, and not one that he really had the advantage on. So it's a huge fight for him to lose when he's trying to kind of cover a specific angle for his team that nobody else on his team is able to cover.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm pretty surprised that Impact didn't really use any of their resources to clear out Attic. Even though that window is a very strong position when you're trying to push in through that side of the map that they were on, Sippin was just sitting there and ready and waiting. No one really tried to flush him out.
They had no intel that he was in there. Both attic walls were closed. Normally, if you see a rotate hole into there, you'll say, okay, somebody's probably attic. Let's see if we can get a drone in there, get some intel. But because Sinister left that wall closed, he climbed up the ladder from meeting later on in the round and got himself into a solid position to be able to cover from that spot. But it's a risky move from Sinister, but it ended up being a very solid read, because were able to take out Udily, who was covering from that angle with a smoke canister on the ground in front of him. So he would have been almost impossible for them to take out otherwise. So in the end, it was kind of luck, but also just really solid reads coming in from Sinister, just knowing, hey, let's get somebody up in attic just in case they try to go for a different angle here as well. They also, I'm sure Sinister had some intel that there was nobody on big window, so there was no pinch from any other angle. And you kind of have to try to attack from multiple different angles for things to actually succeed. If you funnel into one spot, you're all just going to get melted down. So with nobody on big window, yeah. So with nobody on big window, it's definitely going to give Sinister some solid intel that they're going to have to pinch from Kid's window or from that other north window over there.
This round, we see Sinister heading back downstairs into the laundry room. And at this point, they decide to run Castle again, so they're definitely favoring Castle for this downstairs defense. And from what I can see, they're mostly using it to keep control over Meeting Hall, which, again, is a very strong position for the defensive team on this sort of site. Looks like Impact strategy is going to be to clear out Tower first, which I think is a pretty good idea because a lot of times you might have a flanker come around through Tower, and that can always be an unexpected sort of deal there. Takes out a Valkyrie cam, I believe. And Udily actually gets the first pick already, killing RTC. That's the Echo player down, so not going to be able to move the Yokai drones, not going to be able to use concussive blasts. And Surfat Matt gets another as Yaga goes down through the hatch there that they opened. So Sinister opened that hatch, and already they lost complete control. And Little Asian gets another pick off of an EE1D. This is a great round for Impact so far, as they're going to start going aggressive, trying to challenge some angles, and Rudy takes one out. That's Surfat Matt going down, but he definitely did his job getting the frags at the start. But as I was going to say, Sinister opened up those hatches, but they didn't put nearly enough resources on holding meeting rooms, so Impact just got control of it so fast, and Rudy managed to pick off Udily.
Yeah, and then Rudy's going to fall to Pando, leaving it in a 3 versus 1. Mailman left alone on site is going to try to fight it off. Gets a few shots off onto him as a flashbang rolls out, and he's going to make a rotate into there. But Little Asian coming down the hallway on that line is going to find the kill onto him, and that's going to be Impact getting themselves onto the board for Oregon.
Yeah, at the end there, I think for the most part, he just heard the shotgun blast going off and figure, all right, he's making a rotation hole out of there. So just good awareness on the part of, I believe that was Little Asian. And overall, that brings Impact to their first victory against Sinister. I think they put a bunch of resources and rotation holes and castle barricades and all of that on Meeting Hall, but they, I think, only had one person actually playing Meeting Hall, and he got picked off immediately. RTC got picked off immediately by Glaz, or he might not have even been playing there. I don't actually know, but if he wasn't playing there, that's honestly even worse, because that means they opened up all of these free hatches for Sinister to play without actually holding Meeting Hall, which I think would have been just a bad decision in general.
Yeah, a big thing that played into that round as well was that I think Sinister was kind of prepping for Impact to go for a bit more of a push from the front side of the map rather than going for tower. They had a solid, I think they had a player make their way in through construction/bunker early on, which would have cut off any rotates coming back down from tower. So they went for a pretty quick assault and to take control of tower, and I don't think Sinister was really prepared for that in the slightest, and it caught them a little bit off guard, made them put themselves in some pretty shifty positions, and in the end Impact was able to capitalize on it. So it's a strong adaptation from them, or adaptation from them, since, you know, their first attacking round, they didn't have really any solid strategy planned out for that attack. They made their way in slowly. They eventually got down the stairs, but there was just so little time left. So seeing Impact kind of gather themselves for that round was nice to see. And hopefully with this upstairs defense, we'll see them figure something else out that they needed to change up. Matt, though, is already low on health, and there's really no teammates in position to trade him off. So this could be another round where you see that Ash die kind of early on.
I really like that Velcam that was out there on, I think, the mini windmill or something like that. It was just a very good placement. It's definitely going to be hard to spot, especially without an IQ, and it covers this entire west entrance into Small Tower that Impact have been playing around so far, and that's how Surfat Matt lost most of his health. He just, Rudy just called out, hey, he's entering west window right now. Just shoot through it a bit. That's half his health, so Snuglin actually manages to pick up the first kill onto Yaga. I think Yaga got a little bit aggressive there, trying to peek out of the south stairs window. And we have a duel as Surfat Matt takes out Rudy too. Headshot onto him. That leaves us with a 5v3. Surfat Matt is almost dead, but he still, once again, has done his job as Sinister. Find themselves on the back foot once again.
Yeah, and Impact is going to go for the reset on a Surfat Matt, so bringing him back up to 50 health puts them in a bit of a better position rather than having him down at 5 with the complete potential to die immediately. Sipping on OJ does come in and get the kill onto Panda, though. He's inside a kitchen now. He's going to find Surfat Matt as well, and EE1D is going to go off. He does get detected, but he's just sitting still, holding the position that he's in. It's a 3 versus 3 now, with both Thatcher and Ash off the board. I don't think they got that wall prepped for Thermite to open up and Closet in Generator. So that could put them in a really tough position. If Snuglin's not able to open up that wall, they have to figure out a different way that they're going to push onto site. Utili's still standing, and I think Lil Asian has one EE1D left that they could use. But Sippin' on OJ has made his way over to Laundry Stairs, and he's just kind of holding and watching for someone to push out of kitchen towards that main stairwell.
And Kazrep, our delightful observer and production guy, actually showed us that both of the meeting hall hatches were broken up by Sinister before the round even started, which is something that you don't really see too often for this map or for this site, because it is once again on the second floor. But that allowed Sippin to rotate out basically for free. So really good heads-up play by Sinister there to plan that out throughout the entire round. But we do see a couple of extra kills being had on either side of the board, and that actually leaves us with Snuglin, the only one left. He's going to peek through the floor, but it's not going to be enough as RTC takes out the Bearing 9 and shoots him through the floor.
Sinister just on a roll right now. Impact did manage to take a round, but it didn't stall out Sinister's momentum at all. It looks like, Sinister is just like, all right, okay, that's fine. We'll just keep going. We'll do the other side. One of the things we tend to see a lot in CCS is teams will lose on a specific bomb site and then be like, okay, well, let's just do that exact bomb site again and see if we change up, make a small change up and see if it works. And sometimes they'll just end up bashing their head against the wall, playing the same bomb site over and over and over again and not getting any wins. But Sinister was like, all right, well, we lost downstairs. Let's just head back upstairs, see if we play it a little bit better. And then, when we can go, when we feel comfortable, or if we absolutely have to, we can go back downstairs. So now we see Sinister going back downstairs, and I see a Tachanka there.
Yep. Probably, you think it's going to be 6th picked, but we're 7 seconds left into the 6th pick phase, and he's not doing... He unreadied? There's the 6th... That was
one rush into another.
Yeah, good job. Almost had me baited there, but yeah, we're going to see a Kapkan instead of a Tachanka, so no Lord Chanka today, but that would have been pretty entertaining, especially because Sippin was sort of the hero of last round. He got multiple frags, and basically he just evened it up by himself by playing Kitchen incredibly well as the Jaeger. So he's actually going to be playing Kapkan this time around. The EDDs are... They're pretty decent if you put them in unexpected locations. Obviously, with the IQ ban, or sorry, with the IQ nerf, we're going to be seeing less IQ. But at this point, I sort of want to see Impact run IQ. It's too late now because this is the last round of their attacking side. But they know that Sinister's been playing Valkyrie and Echo pretty much every game, and I think being able to deny information a lot more easily with an IQ still begets, I don't know what word I was trying to think of, but it still balances out the fact that she lost her frag grenades. When you know your enemy team is going up against, or is continuing to play these very hidden information operators.
Yeah, but I like what Sippin did with those EDDs. He kind of learned the way that Impact has kind of a habit of attacking, where they'll send in the Ash player to clear out Kitchen and that whole area there. Which it would have been great, but I think Impact is saying, hey, we won by attacking this way before. Let's do that again. Sinister seems to be a little bit more set up for that, so I'm not sure if it's really going to play out the best for them. But we will find out as we're moving into this round. Surfat Matt is going to find the angle from above, but Sippin' on OJ wins the fight with a pistol. against him. He's going to be low on health himself, but he's just rotating over and heading upstairs, keeping Impact on their toes.
And the stopping power on the PMM is ridiculous. But even then, he's still only barely got out of there. He's on low health, but they do have a Doc. And he's actually just going to keep rotating around the map. I believe Doc should be playing on site, so he actually has to go on an adventure and find a way back down to site without alerting anyone. We'll see if he can pull off the Solid Snake. Otherwise, he's going to be killed with a bullet from anything, even through a wall. So at this point, he's got to be very careful, but I think he's already made it downstairs, so we should be good in that respect. Yeah, he's getting healed up right now by Yaga, playing Doc. So good rotation by him, but he's actually just going to get one stim pistol. He's not actually going to go to full health.
No, I mean, he's just going for it. He's standing at the top of the stairs here, and it looked like Udali was making his way in that direction. He's going to get another pistol kill. That's going to be Udali falling to Sippin' on OJ, who on half health now is making his way back downstairs. Lion at the top of the stairwell. Sippin' on OJ goes for the peek, and he gets to 3 pistol kills right now for Sippin' on OJ, and he's sitting at quarter health. Doc still has a couple sim pistols, so he has the potential to heal him back up. Impact, it's just Snuggling and Panda right now that have to find their way onto site against this invincible Kapkan with his pistol, who's going for a flank through meeting. This is some next level Kapkan play.
He's getting scouted out by the Echo Drone. The Yokai manages to spot Panda, so Sipping can get the kill, and Rudy steals the ace, scumbag Rudy. But at this point, they'll take the win because that just sets them one step closer to match point, and they've pretty much dominated this defensive half. But yeah, definitely sipping on the hero Kapkan there. Yeah, the PMM ace. He was about to get it. He was so close.
9 kills on Sippin' on OJ right now. The man has just been playing his butt off tonight. Just some incredible plays, some incredible flanks coming out from him. Unexpected angles, winning fights that he never should have with that Ash sitting inside of Attic. It's tough to really go up against this. And I think we see 3 shields.
We do, and
we're going to see 3 shields.
They can't 6th pick off of all of them, so...
It looks... Okay, so they're going to go for the 6th pick on a Finka. Dear God.
Nope.
Not a Finka blitz, please. I think he's going to stick with the Finka. Yeah.
Yeah, alright. So Sinister so far tonight has been trying to screw with us with their 6th pick. Baiting us out, waiting till the last second, all of that sort of thing. But we will see a Blitz Finka combo, which is very annoying if you've ever played against it. Because you have a Blitz who doesn't really care about barbed wire anymore.
And especially in the hands of a player like Yaga, that could be intensely... where was I going with that?
And lower recoil on his pistol too. It's not a fun time. If you're playing against it, that is.
No, it's going to be interesting for us to watch, without a doubt. I think we're going to see some really wild shots. And, I mean, Sippin' on OJ on the Fuse, I think he's going to have the PMM again. So we'll see what he's able to pull off. Yeah, so PMM with a ballistic shield. This almost isn't fair to Impact at this point. I mean, we saw what he did when he was playing Kapkan, and now he's got a shield in front of him as well. He's going to go for the shots off onto Smoke. Snuggling is going to be brought to half health as Sippin' on OJ and Yaga were making their way in over there. Yaga making his way upstairs now. There is a player inside of Attic.
Sippin has no fear. He just rushes in, peeks the first corner, and goes for shots instead of trying to stay alive. He's definitely feeling that PMM right now. I do want to mention something about last round that Sinister did that I really liked, was RTC using Yokai to basically drone out his teammate on the defense, and Sippin gets Surf at Matt. They knew someone was playing Attic, and they just pushed right through and used him out.
Udali is going to find 2 for himself, though. Yaga and Mailman will both fall, so that's the Ying and the Blitz off the board, which are 2 very useful operators. But Udali is going to get the kill onto Rudy as RTC pushes it up and trades out Udali. Some shots going back and forth into some more of the players that are inside of meeting. Little Asian taking a little bit of damage, getting a few shots off on a RTC. And now you've got Fuse pushing towards Snuggling. Snuggling being brought incredibly low. He pulls out the shotgun to try to take out Sippin' on OJ, but I mean, he is just pushing and powering through absolutely everything that's here. Smoke canister is going to go off from Snuggling to try to delay that push from Sippin' on OJ, but you cannot stop this man forever. Eventually, he's going to make his way on the site, and he's going to come after you guys. Snuggling is going to get reset, and we're at a Lil Asian gets the shot on to Sippin' on OJ, so he goes through a smoke canister. It's up to RTC to try to clutch this out. He has a minute left on the board, and he has to figure out exactly what he's going to do. Ooh, he almost finds the shots onto Lil Asian's foot there, but he's not actually going to be able to get them just yet.
Not quite yet. Going to give him a little bit of extra breathing room with this breaching charge if he decides to blow it. He actually might be faking Sinister out, because he blows that and immediately rotates away into Meeting Hall, but he finds that both hatches in here are reinforced, but that doesn't matter because he's Habana. Going to start blowing them and then rotating back toward the initial hatch. So he's trying to play the fake out game right here, but Impact still have 3 teammates alive and a yokai drone, so they are not lacking on information whatsoever. So at this point, he only has 30 seconds left, just trying to do anything he can to clutch this out. At this point, he just needs to, once again, stay unpredictable, but he also has to go faster than this, because 15 seconds is not a good enough time for getting 3 kills in a clutch situation. The Echo Drone is right there, ready to spot him. He gets concussed, gets 1 kill, however, but Snuggling returns it as RTC goes down, and that's going to be match point for Sinister.
I mean, they're just... Wait, so...
Oh, wait, no, so...
Yeah, no,
right,
I was
they
going to say...
swapped.
Impact
I'm still in the
give
mindset that
themselves
it's
another round.
Impact's on offense. So yeah, Impact keep it away from match point.
Yeah, so 2-4 right now. Impact kind of holding their own. They're fighting really hard for the rounds that they have won, and just really making sure that they capitalize on Sinister's mistakes. And one of the things that I said before we started this map, or this match, I should say, was that it was going to kind of come down, at least on this map, it was going to come down to a skill battle, not really a strat battle, because Oregon is just one of those maps that everyone really knows. Occasionally you'll have some new wild strat that you're going to bring into play, but I don't think that Sinister feels the need to bring out any insane strats or anything right now. We could see Impact try to pull something from out of their sleeve, but it's mostly standard plays, just trying to see who's able to win their gunfights and who is a much better coordinated team. And I mean, the Sinister lineup has been together for so long. These players have played together for such a long time that for Impact, it's just the challenge of a lifetime to have to face up against this this beast of a team.
And as you mentioned, the strats for Oregon have been pretty tried and true, so we won't really be seeing too many new things, but definitely the gun skill is in favor of Sinister, and also the sort of like mini teamworks cohesion aspect of it as well has been going to Sinister too, because a lot of times you see Sinister being more efficient at trading out frags, at holding crossfires, and making sure that if someone on their team has an angle, someone else on their team is able to cover that same angle, or able to cover a similar angle from a different spot. So if someone tries to peek out and get 1 kill, he might get that 1 kill, but he'll definitely be traded out. So little things like that regarding team communication and cohesion, Sinister has definitely been ahead on. So now Sippin is still going for the PMM, this time on Glaz. There is a...
Snuggling sitting right there with a shotgun. Woo-hoo-hoo. That was a little bit of a close one. I think they kind of grazed each other there. They spotted each other for at least a little bit of a half second there. He's loving this PMM right now. Just absolutely loving it.
He's got no fear either. That is not an angle that you want to challenge as a Glaz with the PMM at the beginning of the round, but he's doing it anyway. He doesn't even care about the rifle anymore. He's just picking Glaz for the PMM.
If it works for him, you can't really complain about it too much. He's going to go for the fight against the Jaeger. He's not going to win the fight. He's going to have to run off from that. Yaga is going to get the kill on a Snuggling, though, so that's smoke off the board. Some heavy plant denial there. They still have Panda and Udely, who can both work as plant denial, but Sippin' on OJ with the PMM is going to find Lil Asian. He wanted that Jaeger kill, and he went and he found it. P1D is going to go off. Sinister is just taking complete and total control of this map.
Man, if only the PMM could see through smoke, you'd be sure Sippin would be using it right now.
I think even with it not able to see through smoke, he's going to end up using it.
Oh yeah, he'll still end up using it, but at this point, this is the only time we'll see him pull out the OTS throughout the entire round, and he's actually just going to lay down some suppressing fire, hopefully get his teammates a little more cover in terms of just distracting the enemy, making them look somewhere else. But Impact are still sitting pretty well for having 3 players. Like I think this is, aside from losing smoke, this is a really good lineup you want to have when you only have 3 members left. Because again, Legion keeps getting more goo mines over the course of the match. They can give you information, they can deal a little bit of damage, and they can slow down the offenders a bit too. You can't really rush when you step on a goo mine. They also have Echo, whose yokai drones we all know as very good, sort of clutch last-minute gadgets. But an EE1D goes down, so Sinister are probably going to try to work on their attack right now. They're pushing in with it, but he doesn't see Utility on the floor lying down. He manages to pick off the headshot, and that push completely backfired, as now RTC is the only one left, and he's going to get taken down by Baby Panda with an ACOG, and that's going to bring us 3 to 4. Impact are rocking their defense.
Yeah, I mean, they're picking up the rounds that they need to. They're making sure that they don't let it get to match point just yet. I don't see Sinister not able to bring this at least to match point, and it's going to end up possibly in overtime, but I think Sinister is going to kind of change around the way that they've been playing and potentially kind of close this out. I mean, you see Sippin' on OJ is just going for those PMM kills right now. He's really focusing heavily on that, which means that I'm not trying to say this to speak negatively of Impact or anything like that, but Sippin' on OJ is really just kind of holding back right now and trying to have some fun with this matchup, which it's kind of understandable because Impact doesn't have the strongest. I think it's completely impossible for them to make it into the playoffs. Sinister obviously wants to try to go for that top seed moving into the playoffs, but it's a match that doesn't have like the largest impact really, because Sinister is going to make it into the playoffs no matter what. They're just kind of fighting for their seeding position, and Impact no chance of getting in, but is trying to kind of prove themselves a little bit, and trying to prove yourselves up against Sinister is really tough to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, so Sippin's 6-picked onto Finka from showing a Capitao, so I think they're trying to bait Impact into thinking they were going to play a smoke-heavy strat with a Glaz and an OTS-3, but that's actually not what they're going for. They bring 0 smoke grenades, and they actually have Finka instead. And Finka is Russian, so she might have the PMM. So Sippin might still be able to have that.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you're right about that. So I mean, it's what he's doing right now. It's what he's in for. Yeah, the PMM on Sippin' on OJ.
We'll see if he sticks with it.
With the adrenal surge too, it could be pretty interesting to watch him use that.
It already has really low recoil, so that'll just lower it even more. But for the most part, I think Fink is definitely a better operator to play if you want to go for this PMM strat. Because I think Fuse is very niche. Glass is pretty cool, but if you want to use the PMM, you're pretty much actively ignoring his strengths as an operator. So for this playstyle, I think Finka fits Sippin the best. I still don't know how much I stand behind the just go in and PMM everybody strat. But like you said, they still have a couple of rounds to play with, and they are sitting at the top of the leaderboard, so they're definitely not in danger. They're 100% locked in for the playoffs. So Sinister are just playing to see whether or not they are the first seed going into playoffs.
Yeah, the first EE1D is going to go off for Impact. Yaga is going to find the kill onto Surfat, Matt. So, I meant to say Sinister. EE1D going off for Sinister there. That was a small mistake, but Surfat Matt is going to fall. That's the Vigil. Very heavy roamer with some very solid weaponry at hand. Surfat Matt played a pretty solid role during that last round when he got the flank kills from Attic. Lil Asian is going to find Sippin' on OJ, and Yagan is going to find Snuggling. So the trades are kind of going a little bit back and forth here. Favoring Sinister at this point, though, is they've only lost Sippin' on OJ. He has been a very heavy fragger for them tonight, but in the grand scheme of things, they still have the man count, and they're going to find another. Rudy gets a headshot onto Utility as he's trying to take out a drone down there. And a 4v2 right now with a minute left. Everything is completely in the hands of Sinister to push this to match point.
I don't mean to harp, but that was about as tunnel visioned as you could get. Utility standing right beneath the main hatch, the one that most offense teams attack through. So he's standing right beneath that and trying to get a drone, so it's... I don't want to say obvious, but I think it was pretty... It made sense for someone from Sinister to peek that angle right at that point and pick up the kills. So it's unfortunate there, but Little Asian is able to pick off one more with the 416. Defensive assault rifle is very powerful. So now Sinister are sitting at 3 members of their team left, no smoke grenades. They didn't take any in the first place. E1D goes down, it spots the Little Asian, but he's completely safe way back here in the other site. Or is he? As Yaga's holding that angle, this is a very smart place for him to play, considering he knew exactly where Little Asian was playing.
And Yaga's going to find the kill onto Panda there at the end. Sinister bringing it now to match point with a completely dominant round. They had impact in the palm of their hands practically from the beginning of that one.
And as you're talking about before, since all of these strats are pretty much known on Border, those little game sense things, those individual skill aspects of the game, are what makes the difference in this match. And Sinister displayed one pretty well right there, as Yaga once again held an angle that is only really useful if you expect the enemy team to rotate through that hallway at all. And since he knew Little Asian was playing a deployable shield within that hallway, it only made sense for him to rotate through there, so he managed to pick up the kill off of that. So small adaptations, mid-round, little game sense things like that, I always like to see, and that's, again, what's going to make the difference on Oregon.
Yeah, and I mean, it's from a team like Sinister, it's not overly surprising to see solid flanks, solid rotates, solid reads, just all around throughout the entirety of any map that they play on. They've just got nothing but experience backing them up. They've been this lineup has been with CCS since season 1. We've seen them constantly, and we're moving near the end of the regular season for season 3. They've been around for forever, pretty much. They know the game very well. We all know them very well, and their experience shows in every match that they play, because you'll see them making split-second decisions at the exact right moment to make that decision, because they learned from it in the past. It's something that happened to them before, and they're not going to let it happen to them again. And that's one of the big things, and this is going to go out to anybody out there watching right now. Just because you guys aren't performing perfectly doesn't mean that you should give up. No team is going to be perfect right off the bat. No lineup is going to be perfect right off the bat. Just you have to make sure that you're in it for the long run. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to improve. We see a lot of teams that come into CCS, they'll play a few matches and then they disband, or a lot of the players leave the roster, and eventually the last few players from that original roster leave, and the team unfortunately has to forfeit their spot in CCS. And those are the teams that have players that they're never really going to be able to improve, because they're not sticking together long enough to see what they can actually make of it. Whereas with a team like Sinister, they've been around for so long that I doubt that their communications are ever clogged, because they really just know each other at this point, and they know exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it.
Yeah, and showing that you can stay relevant throughout multiple different metas. Like, you stayed alive, you survived the Lion meta. Like, there are so many different ways that Sinister had to adapt in order to stay relevant, that mid-game adaptation comes more naturally. They've basically gotten practice adjusting to new metas and new situations and everything like that, so they definitely have that experience on that front as well. So now we see another Kids Dorms defense for Impact, and Sinister, Sippin once again using the PMM. He's going to push this angle, I think. Not going to get too aggressive, but Sippin is definitely the type to just chase that kill down and try to get it. He really wants a PMM ace, is what I'm thinking at this point.
I mean, he keeps going for it. But one surprising thing so far about this round is minute left, usually at half health, a lot of damage on Sinister, but this isn't the quick and aggressive play that we would typically see from Sinister. They don't have a ton of map control. Sippin on OJ now is getting control of like kitchen in certain areas like that. Rudy is going for the kill onto this player over here, but he's not going to be able to find it just yet. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. He's going to go for the shots into the hand, and he's going to get the kill onto Panda, who's just focused on his drone there. And now he's going to get the kill onto Snuggling as well, putting it to a 3 versus 5. Sir Fat Matt finds RTC, and he goes for the shots onto Rudy as well. Sir Fat Matt dropping 2 to even it out. Sipping on OJ with the PMM, takes out Udily as Lil Asian trades it back. Yaga is going to jump in through the big window now, making his way, looking to the top of White Stairs. He's going to find the shots onto Lil Asian. It's all up to Sir Fat Matt, who has to rotate all the way back from Big Tower. He's making his way from meeting, heading towards those, heading towards the White Stairs now at this point. It's a 1 versus 2, 10 seconds left, and Sinister, I think, is starting to go, or no, they have to get on site still with the diffuser to go for the plant. Yaga holding tight. Mailman jumps in. The shots come from down below. They know where Sir Fat Matt is. He makes his way up White Stairs. The diffuser is going down. He goes to push in, and he's going to get taken out by Yaga, and that's going to be Sinister taking Oregon.
Ooh, that was really close, actually. So Yaga could have basically shot through the floor. There was a bunch of things that could have happened. Visual could have shot up through the floor if he had a good idea of where that little spot between the bunk beds was, or if Yaga had waited just a little bit longer, then he might have actually been able to get the pick that he needed to stop the defuse plant and win the round off of time. So that was a very close round, a lot closer than you would think it would be, because if he just peeked a little bit faster, if Yaga was a little bit slower, he might have gotten that headshot.
I mean, Sir Fat Matt tried his hardest at the end there to try to clutch it out, give themselves some potential to pushing into overtime. But in the end, it was just Sinister was way too strong on that map for them, taking solid rounds in both halves. Every round that they won, I would say, was pretty definitive. It was close at the end there, as you said, but overall, very solid play from Sinister. Impact kind of hanging in pretty strong. They did get, 3 rounds in the end it was?
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, they're showing that they're not complete. They're not a complete shutout team where you're going to be able to completely, 6-0 them on every map that you play against them. We are going to take a short break, though, and we'll be right back with map 2 of Impact versus Sinister. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CCS North America Season 3. My name is Crazy Man, and I am still joined tonight by the Aglow Azaraki.
So that one doesn't sound particularly like cool,
But
but
it means
I
glowing
also
and radiant, so it's a strong compliment.
that's pretty good, pretty good as a compliment, but it just doesn't seem to roll off the tongue very well.
True. I'll find a better one next time. I don't think I'm going to be able to find any that have like an A to Z that go really well to start with Azaraki, but I'll find something. I will.
That's
But
fair
we
enough.
are coming back from a short break after Sinister took Oregon 6-3. Impact kind of fighting their way back up a few rounds on the second half. I think the first half was 4-1. So we'll see if Impact is able to kind of make a little bit of a stronger comeback on Clubhouse. Azaraki, do you have any kind of predictions for this next map?
I think Sinister will take it. I think Sinister. So Clubhouse is once again a newish map. It's been updated recently, so there are still a lot of new strats that we can potentially see here. And I think Sinister's creativity will help them in that respect. Whereas Impact, like you said, they don't have nearly as much time together. So it's going to be harder for Impact to try out something new and still all be on the same page while they do. Yeah, we are
Very
into
well thought out
bands.
analysis. Sorry.
Blackbeard always off the board. Like even if it's not Sinister versus Impact, we see Blackbeard banned all the time because why wouldn't you? He's got a free like at least one headshot is always prevented from Blackbeard, so it's hard to win any gunfights there. Dokubi ban, we didn't really talk about it last time, but Dokubi's risen in popularity quite a bit after Ying lost her smoke grenades. She's basically the replacement for utility smoke grenades at this point. To go into combination with the Glaz, or even if you don't play a Glaz and you still want smokes, usually take Dokubi. Again, I'm surprised no one's taking Vigil because he's got the secondary shotgun, which is really cool, but that's for another time.
Are we going to see the exact same bands that we saw last map? Let's find out. The last band coming up now from Sinister as Impact took out Mira for the defensive operators.
So we're on defense now, and Thermite has not been banned out, so I expect to see Thermite nearly every round because Thermite on this map is incredible. Being able to open up most of Cache Room with Thermite, it is just such a good map for Thermite to attack. It's a step above Hivana because you can have two full rotation holes that you can blow up through multiple portions of the site. And so already we see Thermite picked. Like that's a locked-in pick. You don't need to 6th pick bait that. You don't need to do anything with that. Just pick Thermite every map. And they're actually going with Hibana as well. I like double hard breach for this map because you just get every set. Cache Room turns into this like fish in a barrel situation. If you have 2 hard breachers, it can actually end up being a lot harder to defend if Thermite's not taken off the board. So I like seeing Impact take advantage of it. Will Sinister get caught off guard by it, though? I'm not sure. They do have the castle to protect from some of the lines of sight. 6th pick off onto Sledge, so Impact are actually... Never mind. I was going to say they're reading that really well, but...
Baited.
But they go with Finka instead. They might still take breach charges with Finka, but yeah, Sledge is always good on this map because Castle is also very good on this map. And you just take something to hard counter it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be overly surprised if we saw Castle being utilized mostly for the construction area that we see, and then that garage door as well can save a little bit of time while you're trying to hold that garage there. But that castle barricade, there's really not a lot that they can do to stop it from being opened up, so it's somewhat of a throwaway of utility if you don't see anything come in from the attackers to really counter it. So as you said, it's either going to be Ash or Finka that's going to have to open up that castle barricade out there. And garage control is definitely one of the big ones that you need to make sure you have. You need complete control of garage here if you're attacking this bomb site.
If you have control of garage as an attacker and you also blow up the hard breach walls toward the east side of, I think it's server room, then you pretty much take complete control over B site. And that's incredibly powerful. So that's something that I want to see the defense side on both of these teams sort of try to prevent that from happening. So we see a bandit, and that's going to help, as he's already over there trying to bandit trick this. However, we do have Surfat Matt watching this angle, so he might be able to get a sneaky pick through a pixel in some of the shelving over there.
I mean, it does throw the drone out, which is going to actually spot Yaga. Yaga, if he wanted to play a little risky there, he could have gone for the jump out. That might have been able to get the kill on Surfat Matt, but it looks like the Habana was right there to trade it off. Udely is going to find the kill onto Yaga, though, and Surfat Matt is going to just jump straight on the site, and he's going to get the kill on a Sippin' on OJ and RTC. Udely is going to take out Mailman now, and all of a sudden, Rudy is alone in the garage, and you see Surfat Matt jumping through the window. They have the intel that Rudy is in there now. Flashbang comes out. It's 4 versus 1 right now. Impact has full control of the site. They really just need to get that diffuser placed and hold steady. Rudy is going to take a lot of damage, and Panda is going to find a kill onto him, and that's going to be Impact taking round 1 like it's nothing.
Yeah, Impact read that situation incredibly well. So again, this B-site server room is where most teams decide to end up planting, because when you have the west wall opened up, then you basically get control of B-site. So the problem was that with Sinister, they had, I believe it was, who was it? I think it was Yaga, who was sitting near the side. He was the one defending Sippin' on OJ, because Sippin' was playing Bandit. He's the one bandit tricking the west wall and making sure that they can't open that up. If they open that up, you completely lost B site. You have to fall back to A, or you have to work on some crazy flank. So you want to keep Sippin' alive, and you want to keep him in a situation where he can bandit trick. And the person who basically made that possible was Yaga. But when Yaga got a little bit too aggressive, overpeaked, and didn't manage to get either pick, he traded his life out, and Impact said, all right, that's all we need. We have complete control of the site now. So they rushed in, they pushed Sippin' off of the wall, they took out the bandit charges, they even got 2 picks off of that as well, because Sippin' was forced to back off. They opened the wall up, and from there it was just, there was really no way they could lose the round after that point. So overall, I think Impact reacted very well to what happened during that situation. And on Sinister side, I don't necessarily want to say that was all Yaga, but it was sort of all Yaga. His death there really snowballed the entire round.
Yeah, I was impressed when Surfat Matt got the kill, and then when Udely got the kill, and then Surfat Matt just decided, hey, I'm gonna do Ashe things. It was almost like watching someone that plays Ashe in casual or ranked a lot that just decided, hey, let me just run in there as fast as possible, and he melted them down like it was nothing. So it was really solid from Impact. We'll see if Sinister is a little bit more prepared for something like that to happen this round. They gave up a lot of site control really quickly there. There had to have been a missed call from Yaga once he died, because neither of the players that were on the stairwell or at the top of the stairwell there even really reacted to Matt jumping in onto site and just rushing like it's nothing.
I also think Sinister need to put more emphasis on construction, because there is a line of sight that you can use from construction, or if you want, even the window out of bedrooms, that you can use to challenge the angle that you said that you talked about Udely getting the kill from. So you can challenge that angle really easily if you have control of that part of the site. Frag grenade goes up, and it's actually going to get the kill. Lil Asian practiced that one hard. That was a very, very nice frag grenade and an easy pick. No danger of being traded out either. It's just smart placement there.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what they needed. Yaga is sitting inside of
And he
oil
gets
pit.
another.
Grenade. Little Asian with these grenades is just on point right now. He's going to down RTC. And Yaga going for the flank will fall, as well as Impact start to take the lead on the second round. Panda does find Mailman. It's all up to Rudy once again on that castle. I think possibly sitting inside a garage.
This is exciting. Impact, they might have hard scrimmed this map or something, because this is a very good play they have so far. And right now it's just Rudy left. As his teammate goes down, he was down the entire time, and he gets finished off. Rudy gets one headshot, but he turns around. He thinks someone's pushing from behind, but it's actually from the front. Good flanks there by Impact, and they managed to take the second round off of this too.
Yeah, I mean, in a situation like that, it's okay to bait that thermite at the end there. I think it was Snuggling who was playing the Thermite. But you need to be really careful with baits like that. You don't want to lose a guy and then not immediately refrag it, because if for some reason you had moved out of position, or if for some reason he snapped around and the person coming up from behind had been there at that moment, things may have ended a lot differently. Say Rudy got the kill onto the player that went for the flank. Now you've got that last person that can panic, and anything can happen at that point, and it's really risky. But I have to agree with you. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what we're seeing from Impact so far.
Yeah, this has definitely come as a surprise, because I didn't think that Impact had practiced these strategies so much, but they definitely know what they're doing with these takes. One thing I'm wondering is what would have happened if there was a Thermite ban, because a lot of what Impact's doing relies on having the execution from Thermite opening up the west wall on this cache room, and Sinister's actually going to go down to Church Arsenal. So bringing it back to the classics, what Clubhouse was known for before the rework, and this is just an adaptation saying, all right, so cache room isn't working, let's go down here. And I think it's a pretty good decision, because once again, cache room turns into a site that gets opened up, or like if you don't play around the blitz well enough, then cache room gets, the server room part of the cache room defense gets opened up immediately, and you just lose all map control at that point. So I think without a Thermite ban, Church Arsenal might still be a better choice.
Going back to the question you had about what might have happened if the Thermite had been banned, I think that Impact probably would have just focused a lot on that Hibana opening up the wall, and because you're never going to see both hard breachers get banned. Never. And
I hope we do at some point. That would be hilarious.
That would be interesting to see how teams decide to play it out, but it would have to be one of those matches where it's, you know, like Sinister versus Disrupt going for that top seed. Something like that. Maybe we would see both hard breachers get banned if the teams like DM'd each other beforehand and were like, yo, let's see what happens if we do this. But it definitely isn't something that I would ever expect to see. Would be interesting. But yeah, that Hibana would definitely be focused on opening up that wall, which with a bandit there trying to trick it like that, it would definitely limit their ability to, because they kind of have to bait out those breaches. Little Asian is going to find Mailman and Sippin, who are on site. Rudy's going to find Sir Fatmat, and then Panda is going to take out Rudy. It's a 3 versus 2 as things are happening rather quickly. Panda has already made his way into Arsenal, and I think Little Asian had made his way downstairs as well. The diffuser does start to go down, and we hear that Yaga looks away at just the wrong moment. Udali is going to push in and take out RTC and Yaga, and that is going to be Impact taking round 3 as well.
The amount of unpredictability that Impact is bringing from just rushing in here, that was pretty fun to see. Little Asian caught 2 people off guard, got really easy picks before his life was traded out, but it didn't matter that his life was traded out, because he already brought his team a huge advantage, and the rest of his team already had extra map control from it too. Like, they took advantage of the chaos that Sinister had on the defense. They got a couple more members in, and as we saw at the end there, Yaga was kind of panicking. He looked away at the wrong time. He didn't get the frag. There's a lot of things that went Impact's way that round, and a lot of it can be attributed to just how aggressive they were. So I would definitely like to see more of that. And actually, between maps, I was looking at the brackets. Sinister. This is Sinister's last game in this season. We have 2 weeks left. Sinister already played Disrupt. They played that match ahead of time, and Sinister gets a forfeit victory against Barry's pals, formerly Nomads, because they dropped out of CCS. So this is Sinister's last game, and they do want to make it count, because the map differential between win-loss, they're at 64 right now, and Disrupt is at 63. So if Disrupt win tonight's match, and they win their last week match, the last week's match, week 14, against Armada, then they will be tied in overall score with Sinister, and then it'll come down to map score, which is super close. So Sinister really don't want to be playing around with these rounds that they have left, because they might end up losing the first seed.
I think they like playing around with the rounds, though, because you've got Sippin on OJ
Yeah,
on the Tachanka. Yes, he has the
as I'm
PMM,
explaining that,
but
we see a Tachanka.
I think our observer Kaz was just sitting there waiting for one of us to mention it. But yeah, I mean, he's not even pulling out the VSM. He's just sitting there with that PMM out, and probably he's not even gonna jump onto his turret. He's gonna let somebody else do it, and he's just gonna go ham with the PMM. But I mean, it's been working for him so far. It worked for him very well last game, so I don't see why it might not work out for them this time. Maybe that's their up the sleeve move that they decide to go for. It's just give him that PMM. Just give Sippin the pistol, and he's fine.
There is an Ash, so that's going to be a little bit unfortunate. No frag grenades, so he'll be at least a little bit safe as the Tachanka. Yokai drone goes for a concuss, doesn't actually get it, but Surfat Matt is taking a lot of poke through this hallway. Doesn't lose a lot of health, but that is still a little bit, and that might make the difference between one bullet killing him or maybe two.
Yeah, and I think Sippin on OJ is just sitting there on his turret watching for a push from blue. And this is so I'm going to make another note about Ash and the way that Ash gets played and things like that. I don't like seeing an Ash drone for themselves, because any info that you, or any intel that you get off of that drone is basically going to be useless, because by the time you're pushing up and catching up to where your drone ended up, that person is either already moved or it's just worthless. Sippin on OJ is going to find the headshot with the machine gun turret onto Surfat Matt, though that hatch above there is going to get opened up, and Snuglin is going to place a claymore at the top of oil pit to prevent a flank.
So yeah, Surfat Matt actually got completely caught off guard by the ADS. And when you're playing... So Sinister, they picked the Tachanka, but they're not strictly memeing with it. Like, they protected the Tachanka's deployable shield with an ADS. Which is smart play, and honestly, Surfat Matt should have known about that, or should have expected something like that, because he still V-peaked the angle and tried to fire into a deployable shield, so that was pretty unfortunate from him, but Impact still have 4 members of the team left on the board. We do have to deal with this Tachanka here, who's just sitting on this angle, but he's going to get spotted out by Little Asian off the side, who went down the new east stairs. It's a new flank that was very strong. He's getting shot by someone in Arsenal, but it's not going to result into anything so far. Tosses 2 frag grenades out, doesn't cook either of them, so it won't really get anything. But trades are happening across the board as Impact are now brought down to 2 teammates, while Sinister still have 3 left alive, one of which is Echo with Yokai. He actually goes down. PMM finishes him off. Baby Panda gets a refrag, and now Rudy is the last one left. He gets 2, and that's going to be Sinister getting on the board.
Maybe the Tachanka is all they needed.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what's going to turn the tide around for them. If we see another Tachanka pick from them, then I mean, just put Sippin on OJ on Tachanka every round, every game, ever, now. Even on attacking, just somehow bring Tachanka.
He still gets the PMM.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he needs, really. But no, he did land a very solid kill against their Fat Man. As you were saying, it was very intelligent use of the ADS there, because they really just completely baited out the Ash charge. So there was a huge waste of utility and a huge waste of an operator, because, you know, Sir Fat Man, he didn't get any picks there.
Yeah,
he was the first to fall.
He thought that his breaching charge took out the deployable shield. He didn't even know the ADS was there. So he still peeked around and tried to get the shots, but got return killed instead.
And we're sitting here talking about Sippin on OJ on the Tachanka, just because that's a pretty notable thing. But Rudy Cat at the end, or Rudy, sorry. Keeps calling him Rudy Cat. It's never going to end, but
he'll probably not mind.
Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, he came around outside of Church and got the perfect flank onto Panda, who was playing Thatcher that round as well. And he wasn't expecting it at all. It was a 1 versus 1, and he didn't seem to hear the footsteps at all.
So now we are on Bedroom Gym, and it looks like Sippin is setting up Cash Room. So he's probably going to put a little bit of emphasis. RTC just blocking pretty much his entire set of teammates throughout the door right there. As Sippin has trouble getting through, but he manages to after a while. Rudy, I like that castle barricade because the this western, like northwestern reinforced wall that you see is one that's very common to blow up for the offenders on this site. And that lets you get a decent amount of control, and you get a sightline into B unless the castle barricade is there, so they'll have to expend some utility to get over there. So I do like that castle barricade overall, but for the most part, I think Sinister are playing this defense more spread out than they did the... Everyone is waiting right here, ready for the... Utility drives a drone in and immediately sees everything in his face. The mute jammer is not down in time, so they're not actually going to be able to prevent this hard breach from going down.
They are able to prevent that thermite on that wall, but the Thatcher comes out and hits it, so that's just going to get opened up immediately. And this is the position that Impact wants to be in. They're getting things opened up early on in the round. They haven't lost anybody. They haven't taken any real damage. They haven't wasted any utility. And yeah, I mean, Sinister has a lot set up towards construction. They're trying to focus on kind of funneling Impact into that L hallway there, but Sir Fatmat just got rid of that castle barricade, which opens up that angle. And Little Asian is making his way up the main stairs. I think a yokai just went up there that might spot him out in just a second. It's definitely giving Sinister the intel, but Little Asian is just going to be able to make it away from there safely. Rudy Cat was just sitting around the corner. When you see RTC sitting inside of the bathroom there, waiting for somebody to try to push in as Little Asian frags himself, and Yaga finds Sir Fatmat. Impact not in the strongest position so far.
I can only assume that that Little Asian was trying to toss a grenade through just a tiny hole or something, and it bounced off of part of it and just killed him instead. Hoping that's what happened, otherwise it would be a lot more embarrassing. But that is definitely not a death that you want on your team, as now Impact have to make do with 3. Yaga's trying to peek an aggressive angle, however Snugglin walks out around, but RTC was holding the counter angle and was able to trade it out. That's the sort of thing you want to do, and that's what we've been seeing from Sinister quite a bit during the first round, or during the first map, was they were playing these crossfires and making sure that if one of them died, it got refragged. But they haven't really been doing it until now. For this round, Baby Panda just barely sees the head of RTC, not going to be able to get the kill there, as the Alda LMG with an ACOG, man. That's super dangerous. He's going to peek the angle anyway, manages to get the down. Baby Panda is trying to shoot through the wall to get the penetration kill, but it doesn't really matter because I don't think anyone is over there, as Rudy gets another one. That's utility down, and Sinister are taking themselves back into this game.
I feel like Sinister just kind of needed to warm up a little bit on this map, figure out which sites they could play and couldn't play. It seems like that cash room site is just not going to work out too strongly in their favor. It looked like Church may have been a tough one for them to do as well, but they managed to pull off that round with the Tachanka on Sippin' on OJ. So it seems like they're turning things around. Moving into the second half, though, Impact is up 3-2. We'll see if their defensive rounds are going to be a little bit better than Sinister's, as they're starting off in gym and bedroom.
I would definitely say that if Thermite's not banned, or basically if no hard breacher is banned here, especially Thermite though, it's an attacker favored map. So we'll see if Sinister can live up to that, because once again there are just so many angles on the second floor that you can just open up with double hard breach. And I actually think that gym bedroom might actually be the better choice when you have double hard breach, because we didn't see Impact make use of it. But if you do have both Hibana and Thermite, you can open up the west wall that I talked about. The west wall, no, not the west wall, the east wall that I talked about a bunch inside server room. But you can also have your Hibana move around toward construction and play through here. And there are a lot of extra sightlines that you can open up here as well if you are playing cash room. So that's one of the strengths of double hard breach here, is you just have one on each side and open up everything. And then suddenly it's a complete fish in a barrel situation there. So I think choosing gym bedroom will probably end up working out better for both of these teams on defense.
Yeah, one of the things that that's been said many times by Talon is that as an attacker, you want to give yourself an advantage by opening up everything that you can. Make the defenders have to hold too many angles. Make them panic because you can see them from anywhere that you want, and just kind of flush them out of the positions that they're holding, and eventually they're just going to run straight into your crosshairs, and you're going to be able to find the kills. Let's see if Sinister is able to open and attack this site a little bit better than Impact did, but so far it looks like they're focusing on something similar, just kind of pushing in from that west wall. They're trying to bait out any potential entry denials, and usually with those impacts is actually going to shut that down. One thermite charge is going to go down, and Habana lost one charge of her pellets. As Mailman now is going to find Udally, so that's Castle off the board.
Yeah, those stairs rotations, and Baby Panda actually gets a return kill onto Sippin. Sippin is the Ying player, so they actually have a lot less entry power without her. And Little Asian gets Yaga. Mailman trades it back once again as Snugglin goes down, leaving us with a 3v3. Utility, a little bit of utilities off the board for Sinister, but they do still have all the hard breach they could desire, and they actually have this west wall opened up pretty completely, so they see all the way into a bedroom from that angle. Meanwhile, Little Asian's playing on the other side of the map near construction. Baby Panda is watching this entrance here, which is going to be the main point that Sinister are going to enter in, because they're out of hard breach at this point. Baby Panda goes for the peak, not with the MP5, however, so he doesn't have the ACOG to challenge that long angle. A little bit of a misselection of his guns there.
And I think RTC is going to open up that other section of the wall, potentially, unless he's just sitting there on his drone. That kind of gives Sinister a bit more entry potential, but RTC does find Baby Panda. Sir Fat Matt is going to trade it back immediately. Rudy Cat making his way up through the main stairs. He's going to go for the shots. He's going to find Mailman, or Sir Fat Matt takes out Mailman as Rudy finds Matt, and Rudy will take Little Asian as well for Sinister to tie it up 3-3 on the first round of the second half.
In terms of strategy, I don't think either team really played super well or anything like that. For the most part, this match was determined off of frag and then refrag, and for the most part, the refrags weren't on the people who got the initial frags either. Like, you see Baby Panda kill Rudy, but Mailman trades for Udally or something like that, and it would just be... There wasn't too much rhyme or reason to the actual trades that went out. So for the most part, it's just players winning gunfights over and over, and Rudy ended up being the last one left, able to get 2 and win the 1v1 at the very end. So overall, good individual play there, but I think Sinister didn't really have to show off any of their deep strats on this on the offensive side of this map. They played pretty standard. They just opened up the west wall and went from there.
A lot of what we saw during the first half was just Impact playing incredibly aggressive, and I've talked about it in the past. We've seen Sinister be an incredibly aggressive team. We've seen Disrupt play incredibly aggressive, and it almost always works out for them because they have really strong gun skills on almost all of their players, and it takes a lot to be able to properly stop them. So seeing Impact able to kind of show some of that aggressive potential as well kind of says to me, hey, maybe they can stand up against Sinister, maybe they can stand up against Disrupt, some of the top teams that we tend to see in CCS, and potentially next season they'll come back and, you know, fight a little bit harder, be a little bit more accustomed to playing with this lineup, and we could see, you know, a stronger team come out from them. But it's definitely, it takes a lot to be able to stand up against, you know, the Goliaths of CCS, as we could call them, and it doesn't last very long. Eventually, I think Impact will fall to Sinister, just because of the way, like, the incredible skill that's all across the Sinister roster.
Sippin's back on the fuse with the PMM and the shield, so we'll see what he can do at this point. He's shown pretty good PMM skills, so we're gonna see him hopefully frag out, especially with a shield covering his front. Ooh, that was a really good spot on the yokai drone. Just seeing a little bit of a shift. It was still cloaked, I believe. So that was just good eyesight there. Surfat Matt actually didn't see Sippin cross, but he does see Yaga cross. Manages to get the kill as well. He knows there's another person around, but it is the PMM, and Sippin gets the return kill. That's the PMM, but Little Asian is right there to flank and return it. I think Impact's gotten smart to this PMM strategy from Sinister.
Yeah, one of the things that we've seen a lot of growth from Impact on, from at least from last season to this season, is their roamers don't tend to play alone anymore, and that's something that any team kind of needs to focus on. You don't want to leave your roamers off to play alone, just like you wouldn't really leave your entry fraggers off to play alone. And Impact are just dominating this round now. Mailman will fall. after I believe that was Yaga that fell as well. Or no, Yaga fell early, so Rudy Cat fell. But Panda now finds RTC, and Impact takes round 7, so that's going to be 4-3 in favor of Impact right now.
Yeah, I don't think many people, definitely not me, I was wrong about this, but I don't think many people expected Impact to be leading Clubhouse, especially considering some of the rounds they've won have been super decisive, with 3, 4, maybe even 5 members of their team still alive. It looks like they'll actually head over to the CCTV cash room. Never mind. Switching over to Arsenal, which I think is a better choice here, because again, cash room, like I keep mentioning, turns into this big... It's like the box of swords. You ever see that at a magic show? Someone
Yes.
goes into a box, and there are like 8 holes everywhere that you can push swords through. That's what cash room is like when you have double hard breach. So it makes sense that teams wouldn't really want to play there.
Church and Arsenal, by the way. Sorry, say again?
What do you call that, by the way? The sword box. Is there a name for it?
I'm sure there is, but I'm not a magician, so I actually don't know. I'm a man of many talents, but not magic, unfortunately. That would be awesome. I would love to be good at magic. That would be fantastic. I'd be the life of the party, unlike right now, where I stand off in the corner alone.
I did interrupt you, however. What were you about to say?
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, wait.
So that was my fault.
No, it's okay. Perfectly fine. Church and Arsenal. It's a risky site to play because you can have rounds like what we saw where Sinister was first defending down here, where Impact just rushed right into sight and took them all completely off guard because as opposed to... So before you had that blue tunnel, but people had to drop through oil pit and they had to funnel down this long hallway. You had dirt tunnel, which was another funnel because it's only one path down. And then you had main stairs and the hatches. Those are the main ways of getting downstairs before. Now, you have that stairwell from the inside of the supply closet up there, the electric closet, millions of different names for it. And you can kind of walk down those stairs as well, and it gives you a very aggressive approach towards the site if you decide to take it. And if the defenders aren't prepared for it, it can be completely fatal. Matt just got a kill with the SMG-12 on a Yaga. I didn't actually see where that happened from.
It looked like it was on the far south side. Might have been outside of kitchen, or it could have been near the east stairs near Blue Tunnel. But yeah, like you were saying, I think that's actually the fastest way to get inside now is through those stairs and through that new entrance through Blue Tunnel. So definitely rewards aggressive play like we've seen from Impact. The Sinister don't seem to be taking a similar approach. They're playing this a lot more slowly. However, losing Yaga at the beginning definitely did not help their case. You can do it, Sippin. There you go.
Matt is going to find a second onto Mailman, so that's the Thatcher off the board, which could limit some of the hard breach potential if there's a mute on Udally that could be useful to block certain walls. And with Matt still roaming like this, he is roaming alone, which is risky. But since he's already found 2 kills and now he has 2 players focusing on trying to find him, that's incredible roams. That's an incredible roam player right there. Rudy is going to push in, and Sir Fat Matt is going to find him as well. It's 3 kills this round already for Sir Fat Matt, and he's going to go for the 4th, but Sippin' on OJ is going to find him. And they're now shutting down the roamers as Sinister has to make their way a little bit towards site with a minute left on the clock.
If one of your teammates dies to a roamer and they don't get refragged, it's like 90% of the time it's 90% of the time the offense's fault. You should have someone covering those angles, having a crossfire, and ready to trade out those kills. Instead of just dying one by one, as we saw that allowed Sir Fat Matt to get as many kills as he did. And that brings us to a 2v5, which is still possible. We've seen it happen before, but it's very tough, especially with only 30 seconds left in the board. Not only did Sir Fat Matt pick off 3 members of Sinister, but he also bought so much time.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to 20 seconds, and Udally's going to find RTC. Sippin' on OJ makes his way into the basement hallway. Sees this opened up hole over here, makes his way onto site, and Echo Drone does spot him out, so the intel is going to be there. He goes for the shots, but Snuggling with that SMG-11 is going to win the fight, and that's going to be Impact, bringing it to match point for Clubhouse.
Did not think Impact would hit match point, but here they are. They are definitely showing up on Clubhouse. They're catching Sinister off guard, and at this point, Sinister, they haven't really figured out what to do. We see Sinister, like we mentioned, they're not doing well in their roam hunting. They're not doing any complicated executes. They're doing very basic plans, like just get this wall open and play from there. Overall, I don't think Sinister. I think they're just flustered at this point. Sinister haven't expected Impact to be this strong on this map, but we might have to look out for Impact's Clubhouse from now on.
Yeah, and they're favoring some aggressive plays here, and it's really kind of catching Sinister off guard. Sinister is one of those powerhouse teams that they tend to not have to stress things too much. They'll play sort of relaxed. They don't panic. They don't have to focus too much on any single aspect of a match. But so far, I think they've had to focus a little bit more on how aggressive Impact is playing. Even while on defense, you've got Surfatmat roaming alone, able to find 3 kills before he finally gets picked off. So it's really just surprise play from Impact that is incredibly powerful and kind of stopping Sinister in their tracks, stopping some of the momentum that they had from that previous map. And now with Impact on match point, we could see a map 3, or Sinister could fight these next 2 rounds, or fight for these next 2 rounds and push it into overtime.
It looks like their plan is to go with a Glaz, as well as we're just going to keep seeing double hard breach for pretty much any site, except maybe unless they know the opponent is going for Church Arsenal. That should be the only time where we don't see a double hard breach. It's just so important for either upstairs site. And so one thing I do want to mention is that at this point, with how many rounds that Sinister lost, there is a very good chance that they will finish the season in second instead of first. Again, Sinister right now is 11-2. If they'd win this round, either this map, or if they win this match either on this map or on our decider map Consulate, then they will be 12-2. Disrupt have 2 games left to play. One of them is against Powerhouse tonight, and one of them is against Armada tomorrow. So Disrupt are favored against Powerhouse, slightly favored against Armada. If they can win both of those matches, there's a very good chance that their map score will be better than Sinister's, which means that they will be 12-2, tied with Sinister, but they will also have the map score in their advantage. So actually, Sinister are finally taking the aggressive stance here, immediately dropping down the hatch, getting the kill onto Udali as the castle down. So he's already placed down all of his utility. They don't get too much off of that, but that is a gun off the board, which is a good start to any round.
And Snuggling now is going to find Rudy, so that's Habana that's going to get taken down. They did breach open that west wall, and we have Sippin' on OJ back in the action with that PMM. We'll see if it's able to turn things around a little bit for Sinister. There's 3 players of Impact that are kind of boxed in on site as Surfatmat is going for that roam, running through the bar right now.
And Sippin is trying to play a pixel peek way back here. He sees into both sides, considering the rotation pole has been broken open. I think Sippin has experimented with this angle before. He sees one going through the rotate, and he's got that covered. Very smart angle there too, because that's generally where most teams decide to make their rotate hole between sites. Ooh, here comes another flank, but Little Asian actually gets taken down through the barricades, and he is playing as a lone roamer over here. There's no one who can get to him. Surfatmat goes down as well, and that leaves us with a 1v4 in effect. It's not going to be any longer as Mailman takes out Little Asian.
I was Sippin' with the PMM actually that landed the final kill as
Right, Little Asian was already downed.
Yeah, he was down from that window. He missed the shots. He kind of potatoed pretty heavy after bashing that window open, which it's tough. You don't want to lose a fight like that because it took Mailman a few seconds to really react. But you know that 416 can be an incredible gun, but sometimes the recoil on it can just be a little bit overwhelming when you don't want it to be. And unfortunately, I think that might have played into what we ended up seeing. So Sinister bring it up 5-4 in favor of Impact still, but with much more potential to bring it to overtime. And we see Sippin' on OJ on that Glaz again. Yaga on Lion this time. We could see a 6th pick from Sippin' on OJ, though, just as I'm mentioning the Glaz.
Potentially, maybe. He's thinking about it. He's going to fuse, and we're going to see another fuse shield PMM. So again, he's been very comfortable on it, but during this map, we haven't actually seen Sipin do too much with the PMM. He managed to get the frag onto Little Asian last time with it, but other than that, I think I can only think about 1 or 2 more kills on this entire map that he's gotten with a PMM. Even when playing Russian operators, he's gotten stuff like, oh, he's killed someone with a Tachanka turret, or killed someone with Glaz OTS-3.
It's just kind of a recurring thing with him where he loves to make that PMM. And if it works for him, it works for him. But I think that Sinister kind of needs to lock
this map, though.
What?
It seems to be working less for him on this map.
True. Things are starting to turn around a little bit for Sinister, though. They have potential to bring it to overtime, so we'll see if the fuse is what they need. Part of me wants to say they're messing around a little bit with, you know, something that they shouldn't necessarily be messing around with. Yeah, it does have potential to make them place second at the end of the regulation season for CCS, but if they're having fun, they're having fun. It's not like they're trying to BM Impact and make it seem like Impact are a trash team. And, you know, Impact is saying that. They're like, hey, you can't really toy with us.
You definitely can't, especially when they come this close to winning an entire map, taking it off Sinister. And interestingly enough, Sinister lost to Motivate a couple weeks ago too, so I'm not sure if this is a trend that's been starting where Sinister's losing their touch a bit, or maybe they're just getting too overconfident with their position on the leaderboards, which, if their goal is to just make playoffs, that's fine. They can frankly do whatever they want with this game. But as I keep mentioning, Disrupt is only 1 map behind the map differential. So Sinister are super at threat to lose their top spot.
And it seems like so far a lot of breach denial coming in from Impact. It seems like Impact is kind of bashing their head against the wall, which I mentioned we tend to see teams do. They keep on playing in the gym bedroom. So maybe this time they'll change something up a little bit, maybe focus a little bit more on keeping one of their roamers alive or landing their shots if they go for a wild flank. But Yaga, with this nice angle over here, has potential to find somebody. He went for the shots on Castle, and he's going to go for the shots on a Little Asian as an EE1D is going to go off. There's about a minute left on the board, and so far, not a lot of map control coming in from Sinister. They're still kind of hanging out outside. Slipping on OJ is going to find Utility, though, and Rudy is going to take out Panda now. So as I'm mentioning that, it brings down to 3v5. Sir Fat Matt takes out Mailman, putting it to a 3 versus 4. Sipping on OJ is making a little bit of an aggressive push towards construction.
Yep, and one thing I like about Yaga's position, never mind he gets killed, but his position was still pretty good because it helped defend the rotates. Little Asian is heard around the backside as Sippin is not going to fall for that one, but they have 2 shooting right at his shield right now. You don't have enough bullets in the PMM to contend with that, but RTC still manages to get the return kill onto Little Asian. And Rudy goes for snuggling too. That's a headshot. Now Sir Fat Matt is the last one left alive. He's the hope for his team. They could drive it home right now and bring us to a 3rd map. He's just going for 1 frag, but doesn't get it. RTC takes him out, and Sinister have stopped playing around. They've shown that they are serious, and they are ready to take this to overtime.
So we're moving into overtime. The rules of overtime are slightly different from the beginning of the season, where now it is going to be a swap for every round. So we're going to see it kind of like the way that the regular games used to be played out, where it's defense, attack, defense, attack, defense, attack. Now we're going to be seeing swap every round, and it is a win by 2. So teams have to win both their defensive round and their attacking round, or their attacking round and then their defensive round in a row in order to be able to close this out. Sometimes we see infinite overtime where teams are very equally balanced, and we'll see round trade after round trade after round trade, and eventually, you know, suddenly we're 35 rounds deep, and it's just a pure endurance test to see which team can last longer without breaking their wrists from flicking their mouse around so often. So this one could come down to that with the rate that we're seeing, or it could come down to Sinister, you know, kind of locking themselves down, deciding to take this a bit more seriously and try to close it out. or Impact just kind of showing up and pushing it to a third map. It could go kind of either direction at this point.
Yeah, with the way we've been seeing this map play out, I don't think anyone really expected it to be this close, so Impact can definitely contend with the overtime and potentially even bring us to a third map. But we will see what happens as we have another bedroom gym defense. This has been definitely the most popular site hold for Impact. Again, cash room and servers, cash room CCTV, I think is what it's actually called, is a site that loses a lot of its power when you have double hard breach up. So teams so far haven't been favoring that. Sinister learned that the hard way too after 2 failed attempts at trying to defend that site. And then Church Arsenal has been the other one that we see played decently often, and that can also be pretty strong considering teams want to bring both hard breachers. So if you swap out to a Church Arsenal defense, then you're, I wouldn't say wasting, but the utility isn't being as used as well as it could if it was on an upstairs site.
Sibin on OJ is seeing a dream scenario right here with some castle barricades up so he can go and place his fuses there without worrying about being shot at necessarily. So he did take advantage of that. You only see that once at Blue Moon. If you're a fuse main, it's your little gift in the dark sea of hate. So good for you, Sibin.
Fuse does not get a lot of love, we'll say that. There are some Fuse players who swear by him, and Sippin seems to be one of them with the PMM shield, which, to be fair, is a good combo. PMM is great, but that's... Okay, that was a weird interaction. The impact nade only killed half of the Habana pellets, so you still managed to get a little bit of a peephole there. Not that it really matters too much. Sippin gets the first frag with a PMM. This is his weapon for the night. This is the one that he's been feeling really comfortable on. Getting shot at a little bit from the stairway from A site, but for the most part, he's just here to make sure that this hallway is clear. As long as he does that, he does his job, and Sinister basically get control of that the west wall that they're pushing in through.
Yeah, but Sir Fat Matt trying to go for the flank from bar. I think he got spotted out by a drone. He's going to try to get some damage onto Sippin on OJ here. Uses an impact to get a little bit of damage, but Rudy is going to jump in onto the pool table and take him out. It's a 3 versus 5 now as Sippin on OJ still has control of the stairs here. Panda sitting at half health over by the mattress inside of the A bomb site. And Yaga now is actually going to find him. 2v5 impact in a really tough spot. Considering it's probably going to take both of these players, both Snuggling and a Little Asian, at the same time to get a solid pinch on Sippin if they want to take him out. He's going to push up and actually get taken out by Little Asian as Snuggling finds Rudy. So kind of bringing this back a little bit. It is a 2 versus 3 right now, but Yaga is going to find the kill on the Little Asian as he tries to get a little too aggressive towards site there. Snuggling has to make his way back up the stairs. He gets the headshot onto Yaga, but he's going to get taken out by Mailman from the hole in the wall, and Sinister take the first round of overtime.
They certainly do, and all they have to do now is win their defense, and so far the experimentation phase is over. So Sinister probably not going to go to cache CCTV. They're probably at, if I were to bet, I would say Arsenal. They've seemed like they like Arsenal more than Gym Bedroom, even though they're both pretty viable sites, especially when there is no hard breach ban. Looks like that's what they'll be going with, too. So I'll chalk a little point up. I don't get many, so I'll savor it.
Sippin on OJ almost went for the Tachanka there. He did switch onto Pulse really quickly, which definitely, like, old meta for Clubhouse. Almost always you'd see a Pulse in Church and Arsenal because it's very powerful for taking people out that could be playing inside of kitchen, anything like that. Also, solid intel on people that could be pushing down main stairs. But I feel like Church or Arsenal not being the safest place to kind of hang out anymore because of the opening inside of Blue Tunnel, that's new stairwell down there. It makes it a little bit riskier to play that Pulse because you kind of have to walk. You need full control of Arsenal. You need to be able to just freely roam around in there to get full utilization of that heartbeat scanner. So not sure if that's going to be the biggest play from him. And based on how we saw Impact play this during the first half, we could definitely see just an aggressive rush straight on the site this time.
Mailman is playing Frost on this one as well. Frost's I believe the SMG buff went through, right? For Frost? Like her SMG got buffed.
I'm not actually 100% certain
Or
about
it
that,
might
to be
just be
honest.
announced. I think it got buffed. I could be wrong though, but it's still a slightly better gun. Overall, we don't see Frost play too much because her gun doesn't really have a lot of DPS in general. It's got pretty low recoil, so if you are a headhunter, it can be pretty nice. But yeah, for the most part, he's going to be setting down his traps in places that, for the most part, can just get scouted out. Sir Fat Matt sees that one. One of the main strats that we see people use with Frost is to basically put traps down behind desks and stuff, basically where people would take cover. So you don't put it in walkways, because everyone expects you to put it in walkways. You put it in places where people vault over, where people don't drone, where people take cover, so that when they do get into a fight, they back off and they step on a Frost mat. So I see that a little bit more often.
Yeah, and it's also useful for drawing attention, just because if they go to vault over it and they have to look down to try to shoot it, then it gives you a bit of an opening to kind of go for the gunfight there and possibly have a better chance at winning the gunfight. And so far, looks like Impact kind of taking their time to get into position. A drone sitting right next to Rudy. That he's not bothering to do anything about. He does run straight towards that new stairwell over there with a C4. Throws it out, but he's not actually going to land anything. Or no, Lil Asian is downed on that Frost mat. Goes for the gunfight against her Fat Matt, and he's going to lose it. Matt being brought down to quarter health as Snuggling now is going to find Stippin on OJ, and Matt is going to find Yaga. It's a 5 versus 2 already with 1:20 left in the round. A lot of health being taken off of the players on Impact, but that Finka boost is going to come in. RTC finds the shot onto Panda. It's a 4 versus 2. Mailman misses the shots on that crossfire there. His location is now going to be known, and he's going to get taken out. RTC takes out Asian, and Matt takes out RTC. We are going into the second overtime now.
I think Sinister got a little bit carried away there. They were incredibly aggressive trying to contest Blue Tunnel and into the new East Stairs, but they're at it when you're trying to fight up that angle, you're at a disadvantage because there's only one way you can come through, and there are a couple different places that the offensive side can basically hold up there and wait for your push through. So I don't think attacking up that was a very smart idea. As soon as the C4 missed, he should have backed off at that point and basically just cut his losses there. So Impact managed to run away with that round, tying it back up, and I don't think we'll stick with this Cav. For the most part, we see other roamers be played because Caveira's guns are very weak. Like, the pistol's a good pistol as far as pistols go, but if you have a rifle or an SMG, it's 9 times out of 10 going to outfrag the pistol. You have more bullets, you have more chances for headshots, all of that good stuff. And her SMG is frankly terrible, so don't use the SMG. But they do switch off of it, which makes a lot of sense. But they will still stick with 2 roamers, potentially 3 with the Lasian on Jaeger. So they do have Visual and Ella on top of that.
There's a bit of a change up in operators here, and a bit of a change up in like roles. So Snuggling, we've seen very frequently, almost entirety of tonight, we've seen him playing that smoke, playing the plant denial, and anchor, just kind of hanging out on site, going for some aggressive plays here and there. But now we've got him on Ella, which means that there's almost a guarantee that he's going to be roaming around. And if him and Sir Fat Matt are able to pull off a solid roam throughout this round, I see strong potential for Impact to potentially take this map during this set of overtime.
I'm glad you pointed that out because I think, now that I think about it, this map, unless you're playing the cache CCTV defense, I don't think smoke is very necessary. There are a lot of times where the map doesn't come down to whether you can get the bomb plant off, and even if it does, the map itself is just really open, especially Church Arsenal. So there aren't a lot of ways that you can just put a smoke cluster somewhere and then forget about it. They can't walk through there, or they can't attack from a different angle or anything like that. It's a very open site. There are a bunch of different angles of attack. So I think for the most part, they just want a little bit more other types of utility and fragging power, which I think will probably work pretty well for them. So I like that decision by Impact, and I'm glad you brought that up.
We could also see Snuglin and Sir Fatman kind of focus a little bit more on going to split the aim of Sippin' on OJ, because we see Sippin' on OJ on the fuse once again. I don't think it was 6th picked. I could be wrong about that, but it could be a direct counter to that because he has been harassing them with these shield operators, specifically fuse. And when they've got 2 people coming after him and he has no real support, that gives them the best chance of being able to win the fight. It looks like so far Sippin' on OJ has been focused entirely on pushing towards site. I don't think any of Sinister actually is focusing much on the roam clear. So Fatman is now going to find Rudy and fall back towards site, kind of low on health, possibly going for a reset soon. RTC is going to get downed as he pushes in, and EE1D is going to go off. Sir Fatman finds the kill onto RTC. Echo is going to get spotted by the EE1D as Sinister is making their way towards the Moto. Yaga finds Little Asian now, putting it to a 4 versus 3, goes for some shots towards another defender, but doesn't necessarily land them. I think Udali just jumped outside somewhere. Yeah, so Udali is now in kitchen. Sippin' on OJ finds Baby Panda, and it's a 3 versus 3.
So we'll see a plant go down. Sippin protects him with the fuse shield, and all of Impact is playing on playing either upstairs or on the on Arsenal room. It took a while for me to get that out. But we will see the hallway being covered by Mailman. He is watching this long flank here. And then we have a 2v3 situation, but there's only one way that they can really go to contest this, and they have this direction on lockdown. So Snuglin is trying to figure out anything he can do, but they didn't create a large enough peek hole on the other side, so he's actually just going to have to challenge this angle and win the gunfights about as heads up as they come. Going for the prone, he's gonna get the headshot on Mailman, but traded out by Sippin with the PMM. That is Sinister's round to win, and Impact, they just didn't have a way to rotate back onto Church as soon as Sinister got the plant down. That's the main thing that they were worried about there, and I'm actually surprised that Sinister won that round after they all stacked on main stairs, pushed in through the smoke. They mistimed the EE1D. The EE1D came in way after they pushed in and after their teammates already died. They didn't have any crossfire set up when they did push in with the smoke. They were just basically hoping that the smoke alone was enough to cover their entry. And for the most part, it wasn't, but they were still, even though they only got 1 or 2 members of their team through, they got the free plant onto Church, and Impact just couldn't contest it because there was no way to really rotate back to Church.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Impact let that kind of slip through, the no rotate from blue onto Church, and they basically ended up locking themselves out of sight, like you said. So full favor for Sinister once they made their way onto site, and it was really just a lot of focus on getting onto site, and it seems like they knew with that wall closed, they could hold down against any rotates back to site should they gain control of Church, and they just walked in, locked it down, and held through. So now with Sinister on match point, Impact has to win this attacking round, which so far, for overtime, we've seen attacking round wins 3 times in a row. We could see Impact take an attacking round win here. They did win once while Sinister was defending Bedroom and Gym, I want to say.
I think that's true.
It looks like they're opening up above this reinforced wall here once again. Probably going to use some impacts and other utility to try to deny the opening of that wall. I'm just kind of opening up the entirety of the wall between Bedroom and Gym, giving themselves the perfect opportunity to look through sight whenever needed.
Yeah, this allows them to basically cover Gym completely from Bedroom. So they don't actually have to have someone in Gym. They don't have to have someone worrying about plant denying in Gym. They just need to be in Bedroom or in Connector here, and they can have a line of sight throughout pretty much the entire map there. And so I do like that sort of setup on defense that they have. Whether or not it'll work out comes down to their execution and how well they hold angles. And as we've seen so far, Sinister haven't really been putting nearly as much emphasis on holding crossfires and trading out kills as they have during the first round. So Rudy goes for the impact nade there. Not going to prevent this one from going down, actually.
He does manage to take out the thermite charge that was placed on the wall, but the Habana pellets came up a little bit later on the complete opposite side. He gets that set of pellets, however, both impact grenades are now gone. Snuglin is going to go ahead and start to work on placing his thermite on that wall there and try to focus on getting that open. It looks like Udily using his pellets, as well as RTC is actually going to find a nice angle onto Udily there. So Habana now off the board. Sipping on OJ now is going to find a shot onto Lil Asian as well. Impact are falling, and this is the round that they need to win if they want to try to fight for this map and push it potentially to third map. But Sinister looking very strong for their defensive round.
I'm actually pretty surprised that neither team has really been looking toward the construction, looking to push the construction side of this this site here. On both of their offenses, they all seem to favor this west entrance. So they're using up a lot of their utility and a lot of times just getting traded out by it. And if you do take control of construction, there is a flank that you can get flanked from through the like the admin office area, with the hatch above it. But if you take control of both that room and construction, then you have a pretty decent amount of control over Site A. And when you know that the defense has torn down pretty much the entire wall between sites, by extension, you also get control over Site B. So I think even though it might be a little bit harder to get the initial take, a construction push, I think, would be a very nice thing to see, especially since both teams are expecting each other to just brute force this west take in general.
While I agree on having mostly control over B if you do manage to take construction, if that castle barricade, say, isn't there, say it gets removed, then you have a very hard angle that you have to try to cover with that hallway that's there. Rudy is going to find Matt, though, as the execute is coming in. It's a 2 versus 5. Snuggling finds RTC, jumps into the bathroom. Yaga is going to take him out. Panda takes out Mailman. It's 1 versus 3 with 1 second left, and it's going to be Sinister taking it all.
Impact just bought their time there for basically the entire round. They didn't execute until there was only like about 20 seconds left, which I explained this a lot, but there are times when you can do that, when you can wait until the last 20, even 15 seconds left in the round to execute. But if you want to go forth with that sort of plan, you need to use the rest of your time to set up every single angle you could possibly need.